So what's your name?
James Paris.
And then what was your graduation year?
1957. Mm-hmm.
Did you have any major historical moments in your high school career?
So you're going to follow this. Okay. Well, it depends on what you mean by historical. I would say probably the most historical thing that we had was that we moved up here to this building from the old building, which I spent my first 3 years down at Central High School. And then we were the first class to graduate out of this school. So I'm one of the first graduates out of this particular school.
So I guess what was like the difference between Central High School and then coming here?
Oh, like night and day. I mean, it was an old building. It was all wooden floors, squeaky floors, you know, up and down stairs and that sort of thing. And this being all basically on one floor. Although I was in the vocational drafting area, so I was up where it would be right now. It would be right here. It was upstairs right here because everything was on this end of this building. Parking lot was out this side, like it is now, but the entrance was on the front side where it is, where the Sunyo Circle is. So. It was just different, you know, it was altogether different. We had a better cafeteria, we had better facilities, but we'd been coming up here anyway because I played basketball and football, so we had used the gym, and we were using the track and the gym before we came up here. But so we actually traveled up here just to even practice. So different, all night and day. It was different, brand new.
And like again, what you said, like what would you say like the atmosphere was like here, like?
Oh. It was, of course, the lighting and the facilities were all new, where you had all old stuff down there, of course. And so, of course, they didn't do anything down there, knowing they were going to move us up here. So everything was really old and not very new. So it was just a different experience altogether. And everybody enjoyed it. Everybody enjoyed coming up here.
And then, so like, what did you enjoy the most, would you say, about high school?
About high school? Oh, we had a lot of good friends, and a lot of associates, the things we did together. Of course, I played football and played basketball, and as I said, I made a lot of friends in the vocational area too. And we did things that you guys don't do now up here. After every ball game in the gym, we would have a sock hop. We would dance every Friday night. We'd have a dance in the gym. There were things that we did that I know you guys are much more busier than we are now, academically and socially. But there's too many other things for you to do. But those were the things we had to do, and we that's what we enjoyed by being up here.
And so obviously, because you just came to the high school, it hadn't split in North and East yet. So
no.
Who was your rival at that time before?
Well, let's see. We had several: Shelbyville, North Vernon, Southport. Who else do we? We played Evansville a couple of times. Went down there to play them. So those are our big. Shelbyville was probably our biggest rival at that point, if I had to guess.
And do you think that rivalry is as intense as the North and East rivalry now, or more so? Or?
No, because they were farther apart. When you got people in the same town, and families actually split between North and East, there's a bigger rivalry. I could see the rivalry there, yeah, which is good. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
So, what was your favorite class at high school, and why so?
Well, as I say, I was a vocational student. I was in drafting, and I had a tremendous teacher that helped me along through my. As I said, I wasn't going to be an architect, which I am now. I was going to be probably a draftsman at Cummins or Arvin. And a fellow by the name of Mel Harrison, who was my drafting instructor, he put me under his wing, and he said, "You have talent." And there was a fellow in Columbus by the name of Don Hodler, who designed homes. And my senior year, I didn't even come to school in the afternoon. I went to his office and worked as part of my drafting curriculum. And that's what started my sojourn on to becoming an architect.
And so, what were some of your favorite extracurriculars that you did? I know you mentioned a couple of sports. Do you have anything else that you like?
Really didn't have much time, truthfully, to do any other things. Of course, I like to water ski. We did a lot of water skiing and a lot of sports type things. We always tried to get ready for football in the fall we didn't have weight rooms and things like that, so we go out and bale hay and do that thing with farmers to get ready to play football. Girls, and one girl that I met in high school is now my wife and has been for 50-some years now. So I don't know how that happens anymore, if that happens much around with you guys or not. Dating seems to have changed from when we were there, but dating was a big thing back then. Going together, going places, eating, going to functions. The Jive Kennel was big back then. I don't know, you heard about the Jive Kennel? A lot of people don't know much about it. It didn't last that long, but it was a place where we gathered and had a good time. Danced and drank Cokes and all kinds of things.
So you said the Jive Kennel was one. So like, what was like other like popular restaurants or like places to hang out?
But the Bobolink, which is no longer there, is where Walgreens is out on 31 and Central Avenue. That was a very big hangout back then. There was another place up right where Mayhen Ford is now. Of course, that was out in the country then. It was called Thunderbird Restaurant. It was, the Lincoln Mercury dealership was there, and it was the restaurant there. So that was quite a hangout at one time.
And then, do you remember who the principal was?
Judson Earn
Oh.
was our principal. He was also principal at Central too. We all came up here together.
Okay. And then, I don't think you guys did, but did you have a senior project or anything like
No,
it?
we didn't have senior project back then.
And so, what would you say is like the defining moment of your high school experience? Something that to you sums up what it was all about?
Well, I would say what I told you there, what happened to me, that I thought I was going one direction and I changed and went in a completely different direction. I went to college and became an architect. So when you have your life kind of thought about which way you're going to go and all of a sudden something changes in your direction, it's a big change in your life. And it was a good change for me. And I did well in college and as I say, became an architect and have practiced many years in Columbus because of that.
And so, other than obviously changing buildings, because that was a big one, what made your time at North unique?
What made me unique? Well, I enjoyed, the thing I enjoyed the most was playing football. And we had a very good team that year, and unfortunately, we lost our quarterback, Mike Perry, our junior year, and the fellow that took over his place was not as good a quarterback, and so our senior year we didn't have as good a record as we should have had. We should have been an undefeated team, but we weren't. We had a tremendous amount of returning seniors, and we were all good players. We had good records back then. So that was probably the most unique thing about here, and there were a lot of other things that happened here that made it unique. Again, just the fact that the city and the people, the industries in town got together and built a gymnasium, which is one of the top gymnasiums in the state of Indiana, right here in our school. That was very unique. And we had the opportunity to use that as facilities to play football and basketball and all the other sports at that point. Weren't as many sports at that point. Girls weren't playing basketball then, like they are now. Didn't have soccer teams, didn't have those kind of things back then. It was just usually the basic sports were basketball, football, track. That was about it. Yeah.
And I guess, do you have anything that you would want to bring up? I know you had a sheet there.
No, this is your sheet. I have the same questions you got here. I brought my log with me if you're interested in any of those things. You were asking what other sports I was in. That was football and basketball. I was in Tri-High D, C Club, and those kind of things when I was here. Do you still have those? They still have Tri-High and those things here? They don't have that anymore.
What was it? Yeah, what was it about?
Well, gosh, there were. How many were there? A, B, C, D, E, F. I think it went to G or H. They just divided the boys and girls up into different classes, and it was basically it wasn't religious, but it was religiously backed. High Y is a religiously backed association. So you might want to look that up and see if I can find in some of the.
Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
Yeah, that wasn't. No, it wasn't that. That's a separate. That's a separate group. Yeah. That's a separate grid. One of the things you want to know about hot styles when we were in school?
Oh, yes.
Peg pants. Have you heard of peg pants?
I have no.
Well, my mom used to take the seam and take it out, and then they would pull it down to us about like that. Okay, and then white buck shoes. You know, suede shoes, white bucks. Have you heard of those? Yeah, those were the big things. And we also had a cordovan shoe. We had a real thick sole, about that thick, that we used. And so that was kind of the styles. The girls wore saddle shoes and skirts. So, what else do you need to know from me? Oh, my caring teachers. I had several good teachers that I liked. That I thought a tremendous. Besides Mel Harrison, who helped me greatly, I had a very good teacher. I'll show you this too, if you want to see that. Let me get into here. This is the guy that, did I just tell you about how I got into school? I was not as a vocational student, so I was not accepted in, I applied at the University of Cincinnati, was not accepted. And this gentleman right here, George Utterback, went to bat for me. He was my counselor and said that, you know, I should be accepted by them because I was the type of person I was and everything. So they finally accepted me, and I had to make up a B deficiency in grades by going to night school, carrying my 18 hours on, I was carrying plus a night school, so that's how I got into college. So he was one of the favorite people. And then this lady right here, Edna Folger, she was a math teacher, tremendous math teacher. And she really, that's a basic of why I was able to get into college, because I had tremendous math scores. And she was one of those kind of people that you really enjoy. Also, of course, Mel Harrison, he was the guy that really helped me along, and one of my favorite people. There's Miss Leister. You know Miss Leister? She came in '54, I think, and I did not have her as English class, but now she's on the board with me, and we've known each other for years and years and years. So. I was kicked off the basketball, not kicked off, I shouldn't say kicked off. I played football, and the reason, and I played basketball up until my senior year, and tried out for the team my senior year, and Mr. Stearman said he didn't want us on there because me and, this was the other guy, Mike Perry, who was the quarterback, we couldn't get the football out of us, and then we were pretty rough guys. So what we did was we formed the intramural team in basketball, and we won the intramural championship that year. So it's a little story there. That's about all I got.